So, rewinding to my issues of self belief. Now, I was always this person that always had like this internalized feeling like I am going to actually do something. It, like, for now, it is this one thing I put my whole, but yeah, this one thing I put my whole heart and soul and focus into it and, go for it. That's just how I was. And I would always get convinced out with the whole, oh, it's going to take a long time. Oh, people who do this have to do this, this, and this. Like, if you want to be a lawyer, you're going to have to defend people that you don't like or like that have done some really horrible shit, and you have to defend them no matter what. Um, all of that stuff, just stuff like that. It's going to take forever. People who actually do these things start out at a very young age, and you're already 10, so basically your life is over. Uh, a whole bunch of like bullshit, basically. And there was a time where I actually got annoyed hearing this over and over again, and I decided that I wanted to do something. I think it was actually art. I decided that art was what I wanted to do with my life. And I didn't know exactly how because I was good with every medium at the time. Now, I don't know. Like, ceramics was top tier. Mwah, chef's fucking kiss if I had stuck with that. The amazing things I would have been able to do. Because upon taking the class the first fucking time, now this teacher was one of the only teachers that I truly remember supporting me, but we'll revisit that another time. But, anyways, I think I had decided that I wanted to do art. And then I was told that, people who choose art as their profession don't they're not successful, basically. And you only can succeed with art if you're special or whatever. And, there's so many people who have tried that failed and all of that. It was just like being bombarded with excuses on why I couldn't do it. And I was like, so at this point, I had gotten fed up. And I was like, okay, well, I understand that this person didn't make it doing that, but they're not me. They are not me. So I'm going to succeed doing this thing. It doesn't matter what everybody else has succeeded doing. And besides, it's something that I love to do. So I win either way. And so I, would do that. But then came more beatdowns because, I'm hard headed. And so I don't listen and all of that shit. So when I started actually standing up for myself, at least on that level, it was a problem. And it's funny because we were so like ingrained with all these Christian beliefs, but they never expected me to use them against them because they really hate that shit. And they're when I would say like I can't handle all the workload that they're giving me because it's just too much for me. And they would always just be like, "Well, God would never give you anything that's too much," or like, "Oh, you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you," or whatever. And when I said that I was like, I got into an argument with my nana, and she said something about me paying for college, and I was like, y'all not even really supporting me trying to go nowhere for college, let alone fucking paying for it. Plus, we poor as fuck, so how the hell we gonna afford it anyways? And so she's like, well, you can't pay for college by yourself. So basically, because whatever it was that was the fucking thing. Oh, you're gonna need us. You can't pay for college by yourself. And I said, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I did. I said it. And I was just like, if I can truly do all things through this, then that means doing whatever you're telling me right now is impossible. Because if I'm supposed to fucking subscribe to this religious belief, then I'm going to use it quite literally. Oh, that did not go well. Because again, then I'm rebellious. Then I'm not listening. Then I'm hard headed. And I don't know how the world really works. Cool. I don't know how the world really works, but nobody will ever tell me anything. We did not learn how to handle finances. The first time I ever like had to do taxes, I was on my own. Another thing I'm going to throw out there is I am undiagnosed dyslexic. I grew up in the 90s struggling through everything. And I'll go into more detail about that motherfucking later. But everything was pretty much already working against me anyways. And I just had to fucking function around it. And it almost makes me want to cry because I just recently had an issue where, like, it just highlighted it and reminded me of how much I have struggled through school and stuff. And had no support in this area of my life at all, ever, even to this day. So, yeah, it's been fucking nuts. And I was just so fucking, I would get to the point where, you know, I was already bending to their will so much, I couldn't take it anymore. So they had to get some of that shit back. And my logic was, if you're telling me that I can do all things through this entity that is supposed to strengthen me, then that means I can do all the things that I'm telling you that I can do, even against what you're saying. But then I don't know nothing about the world. I don't know how the world works. It doesn't matter how the world works if you're telling me that this entity can give me the strength to handle just about anything in the world. I don't have to know how the world works because I can learn to understand the world through this entity that you're telling me is supposed to strengthen me. Obviously, my logic was just too much for this religious cult mentality to handle. And so, yeah, I got in more trouble and I got more abused and I got more beaten down. And eventually, I stopped believing in myself. I stopped pushing out people who made me feel less than. I stopped standing up for myself in the realm of friendships as well as family. And I let myself turn into somebody that I wasn't, because that was the only way I could survive, because I was stuck with these people until I turned 18, and even after I turned 18, because I had no independence because it was set up that way. It was strategically orchestrated that way to where all I could do was take care of my siblings, and I was incapable of doing just about anything else. Absolutely and utterly broken, lost, with no fucking direction and no support. All I wanted was peace and independence. If I had just been able, I knew that if I had just been able to get a job and get my license, I wouldn't have needed anything. And I was already planning it. I was going to get a job, get my license, never need anything from anybody else ever again, and then teach my siblings if my mom refused to teach them. But she only refused to teach me and didn't teach my sister after me, but made sure that the last two got theirs. Which is funny because I think she also stopped doing like extracurriculars for the sister after me too, and focused more on the younger two. But I don't fully remember exactly, but I think that's how it ended up, because we're the only two without fucking driver's licenses from her teaching us or anything like that. And that's it. That's the end of that one. I guess next time we'll talk about the art stuff.